Hello and welcome to Business 360. I'm Shireen Bhan. The top stories that we're tracking for you this evening. Wild swings on the Lal Street. The sensex and the nifty end with minor cuts after a roller coaster ride. Bank stocks decline. Mid-cap index closes in the green.
So excesses in the market was very clearly visible, and regulator, government, worldwide investors, everybody was uncomfortable. So this is a very healthy correction.
Raamdeo Agrawal tells CNBC TV 18 stocks are bottoming out. Currently says he expects promoters to start buying in the next 2 to 3 months. Adds that some divergence between large, mid and small caps will continue. UK and Europe rally behind Ukraine after the public clash between Trump and Zelenskyy at the White House. UK and France will work with Ukraine to forge a peace plan. European defence stocks perk up as the nations pledge to ramp up military spending. US President Donald Trump backed 5 cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, that he said he wanted to be included in a strategic reserve. XRP, Solana and Cardano, the 3 coins which are also a part of the list, surged over 60% after the announcement. Maruti Suzuki, Tata Motors, Hyundai, Bajaj and Hero Motor report disappointing sales growth in February as top automakers struggle for traction. M&M, Eicher Motors and TVS buck the trend. Ola Electric says it's restructured operations to eliminate redundant roles for better productivity. This after a Bloomberg report claimed that the company will lay off over 1,000 employees. Lupin's global CFO says it does not make long-term sense for the company to manufacture drugs in America as the cost will be 8 times higher compared to India. Adds that Indian companies have diversified and are not solely reliant on the US market. This after tariff threats from President Trump. That's an exclusive. Anora wins big at the Academy Awards, lands the Oscar in 5 categories, including Best Film, Best Director for Sean Baker, and Best Actress for Mikey Madison. Baker creates history after he wins 4 Oscars for the same film on the same night. Adrian Brody wins his 2nd Oscar for Best Actor for his role in The Brutalist. Well, the Oscars coming up in a bit, but a big day of volatility on the Lal Street. We saw the markets make a smart recovery, though, in the second half of trade. The Nifty and the Sensex finally closed mildly lower. Mid-caps rose over 1,000 points from the intraday low. So that's the Nifty closing just in the red, flat, 112 points low on the Sensex. The Nifty mid-cap index closing in positive territory. The bank index down by about 0.5% or so. So a sharp swing towards the close. Prashant standing by now to wrap up the day's market action for us. Prashant, it's been volatile to say the least, but any signs of our markets bottoming out?
Well, more and more voices coming through, wondering about the possibility of whether the market actually is now closer to the lower end, at least for the Nifty, if not for the broader markets. And I think today, once again, the Nifty got to almost the 22,000 level. 22,004 odd was the low, and then bounced back. It basically ended flat, not very much to show for it, but above the 22,100 level, so off the lows of the day. Nifty Bank, seesawed through the course of the day, but then finally ended about a third, 0.5% lower. Mid and small cap indices, very small changes, but significant bounce from their respective lows. The mid cap index at one point looked like a capitulation day once again, was down 2%, and then of course ended in the flat zone. So I'll start with stocks, and I'll start with what was up actually on the Nifty. BEL was up 5%, big Nifty gainer. There was Grasim, which was up 2%. Eicher was up about 3%, JSW Steel and Ultratech. So this is all old economy in that sense, which did well. On the downside, of course, Reliance was down 2.5% and was down from the morning. Coal India was down about 2.5%, and there was Bajaj Auto and maybe a HDFC Bank and Bajaj FinServ in the financial space, which were down and out today. In the broader space, market breadth was at one point almost 4 declines to 1 advance. But by close, it was much closer, about 2.5 to 1. I'll start with what was down in the broader space. The broking names, exchange names. So Angel One, the biggest volume-led loser today, 9% cut. BSE was down sharply, about 6%. Welspun Corp was actually up in the morning, about 3%. It ended about 5% lower. Gujarat Fluorochem, 3.5% lower. IGIL, the diamond certification company, we had the management with us in the morning, 10%, locked down, huge volumes. Kirloskar Brothers was down 7%. E-Clerks ended about 7.5% lower. Fusion Microfinance, Dhanuka Agrotech, many more. But this is essentially the big volume-led damage that we had today. On the way up, gains coming through in Narayana Hrudayalaya, the hospital name, is the number one volume-led gainer. That's an 11% gain, 1,600. Varun Beverages recovered about 5.5%. Blue Star, about 6% gain. There was REC and PFC, both 4% each. Tube Investments was up sharply, about 8%. TVS Motor, Siemens was up 4.5%. Prestige, Supreme Industries, about a 6% gain. Religare was back up about 5%. Medanta, another hospital name, about 5.5% in terms of gain. So, small steps of some stabilization essentially is what you saw this Monday. Hopefully, there is more ahead. Back to you.
All right, Prashant, many thanks for joining us. Let's talk markets now. Veteran investor Motilal Oswal's Raamdeo Agrawal says the market is close to a bottom with key indicators turning positive. Navneet Munot of HDFC AMC says investors have kept their investments into SIPs intact despite the major volatility that we've seen in the markets. Let's take a look at what they have to say.
I think the divergence between mid and small is too high. Let's see how the market does. Maybe mid will keep correcting and large will make a move. Or large will make a move but mid will stay there and then it will catch up. So market does its own stuff. I think most important thing is now don't wait for because we are closer to the bottom. Now whether it is 1,000 points away, 500 points, I have no idea. And let me tell you, nobody has any idea. Now this is a time stocks are making bottoms. All the stocks will not make bottoms on the same day. Okay, so if you like certain stock and that stock is available at your dreamy price and it has gone below that, don't hesitate, start moving into the market.
My sense is the numbers that I look at, the February SIP number would be higher than February 25 SIP number would be higher than February 24 a year later, despite 5 or 6 months of severe correction in the market and tremendous volatility in the market. My sense as of now is that even the net flows are likely to be higher. SIP flows could be substantially higher than where they were a year back. And this is very important to know that over the last 5 or 6 months, investors have seen a lot of volatility, but a good number of them are still keeping resilience and continue to invest with a long-term view.
Well, this will be the start of a turnaround or not. We will have to wait to see. On to the action from the oil markets. Crude oil prices rose after upbeat manufacturing data came in from China, which led to optimism for fuel demand. The country's factory activity increased at the fastest pace that we've seen in the last 3 months for the month of February. That's according to S&P's global survey. However, uncertainty over the Ukraine peace deal and potential U.S. tariffs have kept gains in check. President Trump has promised new tariffs of Canada and Mexico from tomorrow. He's also threatened to double the tariffs already being levied on China. Now, the prices of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana and Cardano spiked overnight. Why? Because U.S. President Donald Trump announced that he will create a new strategic reserve to make U.S. the crypto capital of the world. Bitcoin prices breaching the $93,000 mark. Ethereum jumped 13% after the announcement. Apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum, the reserve will also include smaller tokens like Solana, Cardano and XRP. The total cryptocurrency market has increased over $300 billion in the hours since President Trump's announcement. Take a look.
Prices for Bitcoin and the like have soared after Donald Trump set out plans for a US cryptocurrency reserve. On Sunday, he said in a social media post that the stockpile would include Bitcoin and Ether, as well as smaller tokens XRP, Solana and Cardano. It was the first time the US president had named which assets would be involved. The news sent prices sharply higher, with Bitcoin and Ether both up around a fifth from last week by Monday morning. Trump said that the pair would be at the heart of the new reserve. In all, the global crypto market gained some $300 billion in value in the hours following the news. That's according to data from analysis company CoinGecko. One analyst told Reuters the new move could drive US leadership in digital assets, though another said it was very surprising to see any tokens besides the big two included. What is certain is that it marks a major change in sentiment from the previous administration. Under Joe Biden, US regulators had cracked down on crypto over concerns about fraud and money laundering. But Trump came to power promising to be a crypto president.
Hello, Bitcoiners.
And he's appointed fans of digital money to key posts in his administration. However, crypto prices had been sliding on concerns over a lack of other concrete moves on the sector. Sunday's social media post then swiftly reversed the downward trend. On Friday, Bitcoin bulls will be hoping for more positive signals when Trump hosts a crypto summit at the White House.
Well, the crypto rally courtesy President Trump. Back home, Maruti Suzuki, Tata Motors, Hyundai, Bajaj Auto and Hero Moto reported disappointing sales growth for the month of February. Automakers struggling for traction. However, M&M, Eicher Motors and TVS bucked the trend. Sudarshan is standing by now to wrap up the auto sales data for us. Sud.
So overall auto numbers for the month of February were slightly on a weaker side. Now its impact Nifty Auto Index is nearly 2% away from its 52-week low. And some of the stocks at 52-week lows are Bajaj Auto, Hero MotoCorp and Tata Motors. And some of the outperformers are Eicher, TVS Motor and Mahindra. What are the important points that have come out from February sales? First, sales are largely below estimates. Second, entry-level segment remains a drag. Third, domestic sales have seen either a minor jump or have come down. Fourth, exports on a selective basis have done better. For example, for TVS, exports have seen a jump of 26%, whereas for Bajaj Auto, exports have seen a minor jump of 1%. Now, the segments which have outperformed are tractor, because everyone has been talking that there is a recovery in rural demand. That's the reason tractor segment has been doing better, and it's for both Escorts Kubota and Mahindra. Second, SUV segment has been doing good for both Mahindra and Maruti. M&M has reported a growth of 19%, which has led higher growth for its passenger vehicle segment. And third, high-end motorcycles continue to see a growth, and you would have seen in Eicher Motors numbers, Royal Enfield for more than 350cc, the growth has come in at 33% against 17% growth for up to 350cc. Segments which have underperformed are entry-level segments. You have seen that Alto and Espresso for Maruti have seen a decline of more than 30% year-on-year. And second, similarly for entry-level motorcycles, especially for Hero Moto, which is the leader in entry-level motorcycles. And last is domestic sales. That's the reason you are seeing a divergence in stock performance as well.
All right, so many thanks. And staying with auto companies that are struggling, Ola Electric is reportedly laying off over 1,000 employees and contract workers in a bid to curb mounting losses. Now, this is the second round of layoffs that Ola has seen in the last 5 months. Reports suggest that the latest round of layoffs amount to a quarter of Ola's 4,000 employee size. This number doesn't include contract workers. Remember, the company's losses rose by 50% in the December quarter, and Ola spokesperson said the company has restructured and automated front-end operations, delivering improved margins, reduced cost and enhanced customer experience while eliminating redundant roles for better productivity. And here's a CNBC TV 18 exclusive. Lupin's global CFO Ramesh Swaminathan believes that it does not make sense for the Indian company to make drugs in the US in the long term, as the costs would be 8 times higher when compared to India. Speaking of the tariff threat from US President Donald Trump, he said that the US is an important market, but Indian companies are not fully reliant on the US. Lupin CFO also added that there may be a temporary blip because of tariffs, but the long-term story for pharma remains intact.
The cost of manufacturing in America is not going to be cheap. I know as a matter of experience that what costs about $6, $5 per 1,000 tablets could potentially cost about $35 to $40 out there, 8x in terms of manufacturing cost, conversion cost. And that's something which has to be, it's not easy for them to kind of digest something like that. This industry, it caters to the rest of the world as well. And America is not necessarily the El Dorado that it was some time ago. So a lot of companies are kind of diversified also. So from a sector perspective, whilst it is, of course, disturbing news, it's something that we need to contend with.
Well, that's Lupin. Deposit growth at India's banks on the mend. According to data from the RBI, incremental deposit growth in a fortnight is the highest in the last 4 years. Abhishek is standing by with more details. Abhishek, deposit growth, the good news, but what about credit growth?
On a fortnight basis, RBI gives out data with respect to deposits and credit growth momentum in the banking sector. So as of 7th February 2025, incremental deposit growth on a fortnight basis is the highest that you are seeing in last few years for the banking sector in the first week of February. So fortnight basis, the deposit growth is more than rupees 2 lakh crore, which is one of the highest in last 4 years with respect to February's first week incremental deposit growth versus Jan's deposit growth. The chart chart is up on screen for reference. Deposit growth rate also improved to about 10.6% YOY from 10.3% YOY that it had come last time around. Credit growth, that's been on the lower side, so 11.26% YOY, which is one of the lowest growth that you are seeing in last 3 fortnights. X of HDFC Limited, the credit growth is at 12.4% YOY, which is one of the lowest that you are seeing in last 5 fortnights and the second lowest that you are seeing in last 42 fortnights. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek, many thanks. The Bombay High Court has directed the Maharashtra Anti-Corruption Bureau not to act on a special court's order seeking an FIR against former SEBI chief Madhavi Puri Buch and 5 other officials in connection with a listing that dates back to 1994. Now, till the court hears this case, which is tomorrow, no action can be taken. Market regulator SEBI and the Bombay Stock Exchange have both moved the Bombay High Court today to challenge an FIR order that's been issued by an anti-corruption branch court on Saturday. The court directed the registration of an FIR after observing prima facie evidence of the regulator's lapses in the listing of CAL's refineries in 1994. SEBI in its plea argued that CAL's refineries was listed in 1994 when none of the accused were a part of SEBI's board. The market regulator added that the complainant bought CAL's shares in 2009 and could not have suffered losses on account of listing in 1994. Former Finance Secretary Tuhin Kanta Pandey assumed charge as the 11th SEBI chief over the weekend. He succeeds Madhavi Puri Buch, whose 3-year tenure came to an end last week. Pandey has taken over as the chief at a time when the market is witnessing heightened volatility. Pandey outlined 4 objectives for his 3-year tenure: trust, transparency, teamwork and technology. He's also promised to create one of the best market institutions in the world.
We hold the trust of the people of India, we hold the trust of the Parliament of India, we hold the trust of the government, we hold the trust of the investors, we hold the trust of the industry. Trust is very important and we'll all look forward. So I'll say that, we have got 4 objectives. We work for trust, we work for transparency, we work for teamwork, and we work for technology. I think these 4 elements make it a distinctive, and we have created one and will continue to create one of the best market institutions in the world, for which we will all be proud.
Well, that's the new SEBI chief. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear a plea challenging the power to take down social media content without issuing a notice to the account owner. The Supreme Court observed that prima facie the government should give a notice to the person while issuing a takedown order. The court also issued notice to the centre and sought a reply on the IT rules. The Supreme Court has also allowed podcaster Ranveer Alabadia to resume his show on YouTube, subject to an undertaking to maintain standards of decency and morality. The move comes after Alabadia appealed to the court that the podcast was his only source of livelihood. Alabadia has been facing a public backlash after making controversial remarks on a show called India's Got Latent. The chairman of Reliance Jio Infocom, Akash Ambani, teased the launch of JioBrain, which is aimed at reducing the cost of building an AI business. Speaking at the Mumbai Tech Week, Akash Ambani said India needs to invest more in artificial intelligence and called it the biggest tech shift in generations.
On the business side, we'll also build JioBrain so that you can have ML as a service where you don't have to have particular expertise or have the costly infrastructure that comes with building an AI business. You can just tag on to JioBrain, and we'll launch that, in the coming quarters as we perfect the use cases for that. But these are the 2 things of platforms that we will also enable. But I think, it's time that we start recognizing our initiatives that we've already enabled, in terms of ecosystems and platforms that are enabling, multiple 100 millions of users in India.
Well, that's Akash Ambani. Up next, GMR proposes to hike the user development fee at the Delhi airport. What does it mean for you and me? We'll tell you when we return. The big global story, Ukraine's President Zelenskyy has said he's ready to sign the minerals deal with the US despite Friday's spat at the White House. Zelenskyy added that the clash with US President Donald Trump in the Oval Office was best left to history. Russia's President Putin and the Kremlin has now said that the spat between Zelenskyy and Trump shows that Ukraine does not want peace. UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer hosted 18 leaders from Europe and Canada at a summit in London over the weekend. He said that the leaders will work with Ukraine on a plan to stop the fighting and discuss it with the US. France and UK also proposed a one-month truce plan for Ukraine, but no agreement was arrived at. Air travel from Delhi is set to get costlier. The Delhi airport, owned and operated by GMR, has proposed a higher user development fee and justified the move by citing losses and a debt pile-up. Madhiya standing by with more details. Madhiya, take us through the operator's financial health and what's the current rate across other airports in India?
Well, user development fees charged by an airport operator to passengers to bridge the revenue shortfall. This fees varies across airports and the amount is approved by the Airports Economic Regulatory Authority or AERA. Now, GMR Airports operates Delhi Airport, Hyderabad Airport, Goa, Nagpur and Bidar airports. It is also developing the Visakhapatnam International Airport. When it comes to UDF, Delhi Airport stands among the lowest at a flat fee of 129 rupees for domestic and international passengers as compared to Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Chennai, Kolkata and Ahmedabad airports. Now, GMR took over Delhi Airport in 2006 and the tariff proposal that it has submitted now is the fourth control period from April 2024 to March 2029. Here, DIAL has proposed UDF for departing as well as arriving passengers on peak hour and non-peak hour basis. So for domestic passengers, the proposed fee is 405 rupees during off-peak hours and 610 rupees during peak hours. For international passengers, departing economy class will pay 810 rupees and business class will pay 1620 rupees. Now, please note that these rates are in proposal stage and the final tariff will be determined only by AERA. Now, DIL justified the demand citing insufficient cash flows and consecutive losses totaling 1795 crore rupees from FY21 to FY24. They're projecting a 1794 crore rupees loss in FY25 as well. With a debt of 14,786 crores and a declining credit rating, the airport told AERA that raising funds for future projects has become difficult. It claims that they have invested 12,500 crore rupees from 2019 to 2024 in new developments like Terminal 1 development, 4th runway and Eastern Cross runway, which requires funding. The airport said there is a significant need for capital expenditure to maintain and develop the airport's infrastructure, and that is why the demand for higher UDF.
All right, Madhiya, many thanks for joining us. As Madhiya was pointing out, this is what is being proposed by the airport operator. We'll have to wait to see whether the regulator gives the go-ahead. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Business 360. The news will continue. Stay right here. You're watching CNBC TV 18. We're back in a moment.